Welcome to the Scorecard, the boxing scorecard, where I ask people to bring your scorecard and an explanation, not just simply your opinion. And last night, we definitely need the scorecards out because there's a lot of people complaining that their guy didn't win. But once again, what do I open the show with? Bring your scorecard and an explanation, not just simply your opinion. Now, with that being said, before we get into it, usually my show is live on the Talkin Fight YouTube channel. We had some technical difficulties this morning, so I had to do it live on mine. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. We had the well-anticipated undisputed championship match last night at 135 pounds. The challenger, who's not used to being in this position as the challenger and the underdog, Vasiliy Anatolievich, that's his middle name, Anatolievich Lomachenko, coming in with a record of 17 wins with 11 knockouts. He only had 2 losses coming into this one. Very good boxer. If you don't know, now you know. He's one of the definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer, amateur and pro, from what he's accomplished in his boxing career. Had a little bit of setbacks the past couple of years, but he's back. In his last 2 fights, he looked good. Speaking about Lomachenko, he looked good, so he didn't look bad at all. Devin Miles Haney, coming in with a record. Of course, my laptop's glitching here. Coming in with a record. Come on now. Devin Haney coming in with a record of 30 wins, 0 losses with 15 KOs. He's only 24 years old. Lomachenko's 35. A little bit of an age difference right there. But age, it all depends how you age. Because I got to remind people, for everyone that's saying Lomachenko was too old for this, Mayweather was 36 years old when he schooled Canelo. So it all depends how you take care of your body. So let's get into it. So the judges, the official scorecards from the judges was 115 to 113, 115 to 113, and 116 to 112. From what I understand, the fans that voted had it 115 to 113 for Lomachenko. My specific scorecard was a draw. And yes, I will give you round per round explanation of each. First of all, this was probably the closest fight that I can remember seeing in a long time. Specifically, the rounds that I marked as close rounds, which could have went either way, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I marked 8 out of the 12 rounds as close rounds that could have went either way. And I'll give you my explanation of each. So that's why I'm telling you right now, anybody that's complaining about the decision, if you didn't actually score the fight yourself, like round per round, write down who you think won, and then at the end add it up. If you didn't do that, your opinion means nothing, because this fight was too close just to simply just watch it and then say who you won at the end. Just for a few stats. One round, I don't know which round it was specifically, but one round, Haney landed the more punches. Another round, Lomachenko landed more punches. For the 10 other rounds, it was even, according to the numbers, according to the CompuBox numbers or whatever they got. So just simply watching and saying who you think won, people saying that Loma got robbed, no. Give me your scorecard and the explanation. Let me get through it. So round 1, right off the bat, I marked it as a close round. Round 1 I marked it 10-9 for Haney. My quick notes for round 1 was it was close. Loma, you can tell that Loma was already closing in the distance though in that first round. I still thought Haney won because he landed more effectively, but Lomachenko, you can tell with his footwork, he was closing in the distance already. Round 2, also marked it as a close round, 10-9 for Haney. Haney started with the high-lows, jabbed the head straight cross to the body. Those right hands to the body were landing consistently for Devin Haney. whether it was a long straight right to the body or if he was close landing a right uppercut. Them right hands to the body were landing consistently for Devin Haney early on in the fight. Third round, so the first 2 rounds I gave to Haney. The next 2 rounds I gave to Lomachenko. Round 3, 10-9 Lomachenko. Lomachenko with the, you can tell the I mean, obviously there was a little bit of a size difference, but the power, the effectiveness of the punches were a little bit different. Again, we're not in there feeling the punches, but just by hearing the noise that it makes when they land, Loma's punches was more like pop, pop, pop. Devin Haney was more like a thudding punch that it just sounded different. But in that third round, I believe Loma landed more of his pop, pop, pump, pop, pop punches. Not necessarily powerful, but plentiful. That's the right word. So Lomachenko was more quantity over quality in that third round. I shouldn't say over quality because his punches were still clean and accurate. Just not that much power behind him. Round number 3. I didn't mark it as a close round. I thought it was clear for Loma. Round number 4, I marked it as a close round. Rounds number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I marked all as close rounds that could have went either way, man. This fight, I have not seen a fight like that was this close in a long time. I can't, to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever marked 8 close rounds in a fight in all my years of scoring fights. Anyways, round 4 marked as a close round, 10-9 for Loma. My notes for round 4 was Loma barely won the round, but Haney is countering good. Like I mentioned this in the later rounds, like a lot of these rounds were back and forth. Like as soon as one person would take the lead, the other person would do something to make it even again. Whether it was Loma starting on Haney and then Haney coming back, or Haney starting on Loma and then Loma coming right back. This was so many back and forths in each round. Round number 5 also marked it as a close round, but I gave that round to Devin Haney. And just as I just talked about, it was back and forth. But Haney, I can't even read my own scribble writing here. Haney's punches looked more effective. They looked more effective on his when he was throwing. Round number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Round number 6. Another round that I marked as a close round that could have went either way, but I gave this one barely to Haney. My notes for round 6 was the lead changes. Like there's like when I start to watch, and I got this from speaking to officials and people that actually score fights for real in real life, and one of the high level officials told me that, you know, when the fight starts, they look to see who took the lead, who's in the lead right away. And then after that, they're looking at if the other person is doing what they have to do to actually make it even again. And if they make it even or surpass what the original lead person did. So my whole point of bringing that up is anytime one person would take the lead, the other person would come right back. And it happened multiple times throughout the round. It wasn't just one time. This happened multiple times throughout the round. So yeah, this was a judge's nightmare to score. 7th round, another round I marked as a close round that could have went either way. This time I gave it to Lomachenko. My notes for round 7 was that Loma was more active and landing more. Again, Devin's punches still looked like they were more effective. But in that 7th round, I thought it was clear for Loma. His punches were, that was the first round where Loma's punches actually, Haney looked like Loma's punches were actually affecting him. What is this random stat I got here as I got the fight highlights? Round 11. I'll get to that stat in a second. Yeah, so round 7, gave it to Loma. Round 8, another close round that could have went either way. This one I also gave to Lomachenko. My notes for round 8 was I pointed an arrow up because it was the same as round 7. Loma was just simply more active and landing with more accuracy than Haney. And Haney looked like for Haney, Lomachenko's punches actually made Haney back up a little bit. So yeah. Round 9 was the last round that I marked as a close round. And I gave that one to Devin Haney. My notes for round 9 was Loma slowed down. That's why Haney was landing more. Yeah, it just looked like Loma slowed down a little bit. That's why Haney was landing more. So I'm not sure what it was that made Lomachenko take his foot off the gas pedal. And we'll talk about the post-fight press conference too. Some interesting things were said in the post-fight press conference. Yeah. So yeah, round 9, close round for Haney. Round 10, 11, and 12. These were clear rounds for whoever I gave it to. So round 10, I thought Lomachenko clearly won that round simply by landing more and using his footwork. See, the thing about Lomachenko, he's able to maintain, when he picks it up, most boxers, if they pick up their pace, they'll pick it up and go down and up, down and up. Lomachenko, when he picks up his pace, he maintains that high level pace, except for the 9th round. That's why it was pretty noticeable that Haney won, because it was pretty noticeable that Lomachenko slowed down that 9th round. But the 10th round, he picked it up, landed more. I thought the 10th round was clear for Lomachenko. From what I understand, one of the judges gave it to Haney. That I don't know. Sorry, I'm just going by what I heard, which I usually don't do. So shame on me for doing that. So pretend I didn't say that. Round 11, another clear round for Lomachenko. My notes for round 11 was Lomachenko clearly looks a step ahead. So yeah, that round 10, 11 I had clear for Lomachenko. And then round 12. Now, I did not know, because some people, when you're scoring your fight, some people will, if their guy is losing, they'll make sure, they'll give if it's a close round, they'll make sure to give it to whoever their guy, just so at the end it's closer and they can kind of make it even. As I was doing this, I didn't know what the scores was, because I had to watch it on my phone, because the link for the pay-per-view messed up, so I had to find it on my phone real quick, so I couldn't score it as I was so I was writing it down. My whole point of saying this is that usually when I score it on my phone, I can see the scores after each round. But when I'm writing it down, I can't see, I guess I can, but I didn't add them up in between rounds. So going into this last round, I didn't know that it was whoever won this round. If Haney didn't win the last round, which I gave it to him, he would have lost. I gave Haney the last round clearly, and that's what made it a draw. I had it a draw. But again, I predicted Haney to win by unanimous decision. When I say unanimous, I just mean all 3 judges gave it to him, and which I was right with my prediction, because all 3 judges gave it to him, which it was unanimous. But when you say unanimous, it kind of sounds like one guy clearly won. He only won by 2 rounds. 2 of the judges only had Haney winning by 2 rounds. The last judge had it 116-112, so we had Haney winning by 4 rounds. But again, this was so close. I told you already. 1 round, I don't know which round it was. It wasn't, whichever one it was, Haney landed more punches. There was another round where Lomachenko landed more punches. For 10 other rounds, it was even. So I don't hear nothing about one person, Lomachenko, getting robbed. Nah, man. It was, according to the numbers, it was even. So yeah, that was my scorecard. A few notes I got here. Punches landed through round 11. It was close. It was close. It was very close. 20% to 22% for Haney and Lomachenko as far as punches landed. So where do both fighters go from here? Let's look at the rankings. First of all, Lomachenko is 34 years old, but again, he might be considered a young 34 years old, because Lomachenko has not been any wars like wars where he fought back and forth and got knocked down and had to get up and fight from getting knocked down. Lomachenko hasn't had any real wars like that. So even though he's 34, it's not an old 34. And to be honest with you, Terrence Crawford is actually the same age as Lomachenko. I don't know when, and everyone's still wanting to see that fight with him and Errol Spence, right? So I don't want to hear no excuses about Loma was old. He was good. And as I said at the beginning, Lomachenko looked good in his last 2 fights. In his last fight when he fought Ortiz, he did get touched up a little bit, but that was Ortiz, that dude Jermaine Ortiz was a former sparring partner of Lomachenko. So the sparring partner, you spar hundreds of rounds with this person that, even though you might be better than your sparring partner, they know all your tricks. They know the things that you're going to try to do. They probably have a lot of those sparring matches videotaped. So, that I can understand how Lomachenko got touched up a little bit extra in that fight. I see some comments coming through. Give me 1 second to get through this, and I will answer all those in a second. So, yes. What is next for Lomachenko? Actually, you know what? I'll just answer it right now. Can Devin handle Tank? That'll be very interesting, man. That would be very interesting because I don't think it's clear either way. You know what? I'd have to go with Tank on that one, but not. I don't know, man. It's hard, man, because Tank has that power that'll make you change your mind. Tank is a southpaw just like Lomachenko. I mentioned before how Lomachenko, and it's 2 different styles, because even though Tank and Lomachenko are southpaws, they're 2 totally different styles. Tank has a lower output, but when he lands, he lands. When he lands. Tank has a lower output, but when he lands, you're gonna feel it. Lomachenko has a much higher output with his quantity of punches that he throws and his accuracy, but there's not much power behind his punches. Got some kick to his punch. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about Tank. Yes, Tank definitely does. So yeah, Devin is gonna have to really stay sharp versus Tank. Well, I guess versus all the top guys that's at 135. I find it interesting though that Shakur Stevenson got into the ring after the fight and Devin left. Usually, when an op usually an op from your division steps into the ring after the fight, it's usually to call you on. And usually the fighter that won the fight will stay there and, talk some shit to him too. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting that Devin chose not to stay and talk some trash to Shakur, which would have helped boost the fight if they were gonna fight next. They probably wouldn't have fought next, but eventually. So Shakur wants that smoke. Yes, he definitely does, because he straight up, he got in the ring. Shakur got into the ring, got on the microphone and said, yeah, Lomachenko won that fight. I'm here to call out Devin, and he ran scared. Shakur's that dude, man. And I've been saying Shakur's that dude since I saw him fought at the Olympics. When he got that silver medal at the Olympics, I said, this kid, his skills are more mature than his age. Like, sometimes you see a little kid and they act more mature than their age. Shakur Stevenson, his boxing skills back then were more mature than his age. So yeah. Out of all these guys here, I think Shakur is at the top of the list. But if there's A and not A and B, but A and A1, it would be Shakur and Tank. And it's not just Tank because of his power. Tank is known as simply as a power puncher because he knocks out 90. I think his knockout percentage is like 93%. Only 2 people out of the 30 people he fought actually went the distance with him. But the thing with Tank is what people overlook. He actually has skills. All these one-punch knockouts that Tank has, he's not just standing there with his hands up and just swinging and just hoping to catch you. They're all set up. Even just recently with Garcia, that overhand left that he dropped him with in that second round, that wasn't just randomly throwing punches. He looked at him, timed that hook, leaned back and bombed him with it. So that's the thing, man. Like when it comes to Tank, again, the difference between styles between Lomachenko and Tank. When Loma hits you with his counter punches, he hits you, but it's more speed. Like your head will snap back because you didn't see it coming because he's so fast. Speed, but with Tank, when he counter punch you, he's bombing you. Lomachenko's more pop, pop, pop with his counters, than Tank is bombing you with his counter punches. So that would be the difference if Haney fought Tank, if Tank fights anybody. So what is next for these guys? Lomachenko, he hasn't made a decision. And by the way, at the post-fight press conference, Lomachenko says he clearly thinks he won the fight. As a matter of fact, I think he said he took round 10 or 11 off because he felt he was winning. He felt he was clearly winning, which is the worst thing any boxer could ever do. You don't know what these judges are thinking. Like, you're not a judge. You can't just assume because you think you're doing good, you're assuming you're winning the fight, and you can just coast it a little bit because you think you're winning. That is the worst advice you can give yourself, and the worst advice that your coach could give you. And I know there was a point last night where Bill Haney, Devin's father and coach, told him that he's winning the fight. Now it's okay to tell, but that's touchy. If you're going to tell your fighter that he's winning the fight, you still have to remind him to stay sharp and to stay active. Don't just say you're winning the fight so you can take this round off and just move around a little bit. You don't ever want to do that, because again, you're not the judge yourself. You don't know what these judges are seeing or looking for as far as scoring fights. All right, what else we got at the 135-pound division? Not sure if Ryan Garcia is staying at 135 or moving up. But shout out to Derek James, who I said a long time ago was the #1 boxing trainer in the sport. He has Jermell Charlo, undisputed champion at 154 pounds. He has Earl Spence, regarded as one of the top two or top three boxers in the whole sport of today. Anthony Joshua just picked up a win, started training with Derek James, picked up a win in his comeback fight a couple of weeks ago. And now Ryan Garcia has decided to join the stable with Derek James, who, again, I think is anybody who joins Derek James is it's good for them. He works on your offense and your defense. And he's expecting you to stay sharp at all times. I love the way he talks to his fighters in between rounds, short, specific instructions. And and his boxers compete and they win and they listen to him. So yeah, man, shout out to Ryan Garcia for making that change to Derek James. Very interested to see how he looks in his next couple of fights. Who else we got? Isaac Cruz, yeah, he's tough. His cardio is on point and coming at you the whole time. Frank Martin, who's also with Derek James, another southpaw who's talking trash to him. Him and Davis. What's his name? Davis, that he rolled with Shakur Stevenson. He just came out of the Olympics. Davis, man. Wow, I'm drawing a blank. Somebody in the chat, what's his name, man? Davis. Is it Keyshawn Davis? He has two other brothers, too. Anyways, yeah, 135. We also have Michel Rivera, who wears his haircut and shorts like Muhammad Ali and tries to fight like him, too. He's a good boxer. Obviously, he's not Ali, but I like what he's coming with. Floyd Schofield is coming up in the ranking. He's ranked top 10. You haven't heard his name yet. You will hear his name in the next couple of years. Frank Schofield. He's something else. Who else we got? Shakur Stevenson. Also, of course, I also mentioned Jermaine Ortiz, who was a former sparring partner for Lomachenko, could do his thing too. Keyshawn Davis. He's the one. Him and Frank Martin were talking trash to each other. 135 pounds. That would be very interesting if they both got it on. What is next for Mr. Devin Haney? I think the big thing would be is how well can he make 135 pounds? Everyone sees how before the fight, everyone was saying, commenting on how big he is for that division, and that he most likely will be moving up. Well, Devin Haney said himself, if the money calls at 135, he's going to stay at 135. And there's no, people like to use the term a weight bully. That term doesn't even make sense, a weight bully. My thing is, if you can make the weight, dominate. Simple. If you step on the scale and you're within that weight class, make the weight and dominate. That's all you got to do. That's one of the dumbest boxing terms I've ever heard. A weight bully. You can make the weight, dominate, man. So Devin Haney, he said himself eventually he's going to be moving up to 140 pounds. He said he's been at 135 pounds since he was like 17 years old. He's 24 now, so yeah, eventually he's going to just naturally grow a little bit bigger, no matter how much he works out and has a good nutrition food routine. So it's going to be interesting because he still the undisputed champion, defended his belts last night. Who do I see Devin Haney going against next? It's going to be somebody in the top 10 for sure, as I'm looking at the list here. Someone that'll be excited, maybe not on paper. Well, actually, if you made pay-per-view once, I don't know if you go on pay-per-view every time. If you go pay-per-view every time, that means you got to fight a dog every time. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know. How about maybe William Zepeda? He's a good fighter too. Frank Markin been talking trash. Isaac Cruz, maybe a common opponent with Gervonta Davis to test himself. Lomachenko said he'd be interested to see Jermaine Ortiz versus Devin Haney. Lomachenko also too. Not sure if he said this just because he's angry about losing. But he said that he believes that Teofimo Lopez and Linares are better fighters than Devin Haney. Very interesting, very interesting. My man Eddie Barrington is saying shot. Who you say? I'm assuming you're talking about Lomachenko. Is he shot or did he just? No, I don't think he's shot, man. That's a shot is when you're not even in the fight at all. You know who I think is shot? This just to twist the subject real quick. Katie Taylor versus I think her name is Chantel Cameron. That fight was earlier in the day, yesterday in the UK. I think Katie Taylor, the term shot is kind of a disrespectful term. This means you ain't got it. Well, no, it's not disrespectful. It just means you ain't got it no more. Katie Taylor, she lost that fight unanimous yesterday. She was backing up that whole time. That girl, Chantel Cameron, had her backing up from rope to rope. The judges were doing everything they could to try to give it to Katie Taylor. One judge made it a draw. The other two judges had it it was 10 rounds. So one judge just had it anyways, they only had Chantel Cameron winning by two rounds. Katie Taylor, you want to use the word shot? She definitely does not look like the same fighter she was even just last year when she fought that girl Serrano. So yeah, that's that shot. So anyways, going back to this match now. Yeah, Devin Haney versus who? It's not going to be Shakur Stevenson next. He just took care of Lomachenko. Ryan Garcia is going to probably take a softer touch before he takes another big fight at 135 or 140, whichever one he goes to. Frank Martin, that would be interesting. Of course, he already took care of George Kambosos. How about Michelle Rivera? That would be a very interesting fight for Devin Haney next. Yeah, that would be very interesting for Devin Haney next. Or Dennis Baranchek. He had a fight of the year with William Zepeda. I'm pretty sure it was Zepeda or another Zepeda. Baranchek, he had a fight of the year a couple of years ago. So yeah, he's a tough competitor too. So yeah, man, I'm not sure. There's a couple of guys that Haney has in store, depending on if he can make the weight still. Let's look at 140 pounds. If Haney decided to move up to 140, the 140-pound division is not as heavily stacked as 135. Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez are about to get it on. I believe it's June 10th. So that should be interesting. Jose Zepeda. Before I talk about William Zepeda, but it's Jose Zepeda that was in that fight with I'm pretty sure Baranchek in the fight of the year. Anyways, 140 for Devin Haney. Jack Catterall is waiting for his rematch versus Josh Taylor. That was a controversial win for Catterall. I'm pretty sure I still had Taylor winning, but it was very close. Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor. No. Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez are going to be fighting early June. Regis Prograis just signed with Eddie Hearn. I forget who he's taking on, but that would be a definite possible future opponent for Devin Haney at 140. Gary Antoine Russell, one of 5 of the Russell brothers, all great fighters. You got Rolando Romero, who's a name at 140. He put up a good fight against Tank Davis before getting stopped. So yeah. Sandor Martin still not a big name, but he's the one that put Mikey Garcia into retirement in his last fight. Subriel Matias is also a very good competitor for Devin Haney at 140. So yeah, it all depends on how good Devin Haney can still make 135 pounds. If it's still easy for him, there's still some big money fights down there. But if his body simply won't let him make that weight anymore, then he's gonna have to move up and fight the bigger sharks up there. So there you have it. What any more comments? What up? Shout out to Nubian Emperor. Shout out, and also shout out to Eddie Barrington for your comments. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch the show. What else I got? Any other notes I got in here? No. So yeah, man, that's it. Next week, I'm not sure if I'll be able to do a scorecard next week. Next week, I'll be traveling to Paris, France, with Team Canada for a training camp. So that should be interesting. I've been to a lot of tournaments with Team Canada, but not a training camp yet. So it's going to be interesting to observe how these other countries train their top boxers. But I'll give you guys an update when I get back. All right, man. Yeah. Like I said, usually you can find me on the Talkin Fight YouTube channel. We just had some technical difficulties today, so I was doing my show live on my YouTube channel. Once again, shout out to the people that took time to watch today. Nubian Emperor, what up? And Eddie Barrington, what up? Thank you very much. All right, man, that is it for now. And you can catch me on any social media platform at Cedric Sports. Yeah. All right. Peace.